arrive when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Some have dreamed, some have died to make a bright tomorrow, and our vision remains in our hearts. Now the torch must be passed with new hope, not in sorrow, and a promise to make a new start. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me.
Hello, my name is AJ Fox. I use they, them pronouns. I'm the Director of Religious Education here at First UU. I'm a redheaded, freckled sort of human wearing a gold top. My friend Nearing is probably coming up here. She is wearing a red dress that is inspired by the lovely parade yesterday. She woke up and said this was what she was wearing because this was the Pride service and she had seen what we wear at Pride. Today, immediately following the service, we are going to have a question and answer regarding the funding of the bathroom remodel. The bathroom remodel has been an ongoing conversation and an ongoing multi-year conversation that is easy to lose the thread of in this constantly shifting, voluntarily engaged community such as ours. So I started searching for the materials this week to try and track down a timeline of the conversation surrounding inclusive bathroom spaces in the church. From 2018 committee level conversations to congregational votes for budget that included bathroom remodels, to 2019 board approved plans, to a global pandemic that restarted everything, to new plans that will allow for a more comprehensive reimagining of the bathroom space. I found the board documents and the email threads. But what I found that actually struck me was a story that I myself had mostly forgotten, that I myself had written down and read to the congregation in 2019. So that's what I'm going to share today. For context, I read it after returning from the 2019 youth conference hosted at a Unitarian Universalist church in Kansas. I was pregnant. I had a 2-year-old at home that I had left, and I had went to take care of a crew of youth at the conference, where we stayed for 2 nights on air mattresses and grew and learned together with other UU teens from across the area. These are notes written before global pandemic, before most of the 491 anti-trans bills currently being tracked by the ACLU were ever imagined, when we were trying to solve a problem of inclusion that hadn't yet reached the headlines. At the town hall meeting a couple Sundays ago, the topic of bathrooms came up again. It's a topic we've been wandering around for a couple years. How do we take this building with its split floors and ADA inaccessible multi-stall bathrooms and make it something that's actually inclusive for everyone? Well, you know, not spending money. It's a hard question. It's a difficult question, and it's a question for committees, and then the board, and then the congregation. But I wanted to share here with y'all a conversation I had this weekend in Lenexa, Kansas with a young trans man. We gotta be quiet. They gotta hear me, okay? After I'm completely done reading my thing, I will tell them that, okay? I will loud. This weekend, I traveled with a group of youth to the Regional Youth Assembly at Smooch. It was joyous. The topic of the conference was LGBT plus activism. These were not just our youth, this was youth from 5 congregations across Kansas and Missouri. All Souls, Smooch, First Year U of Springfield, Columbia, and Salina. The total head count was 30 youth and 8 advisors. The church was a whirlwind of activity from 7 p.m. Friday until 9:30 a.m. Sunday. Because of the topic of the Youth Assembly and the nature of UU Church's youth programs these days, the youth had a strong standing of LGBT plus representation. I'd say 30 to 50% of the kids were LGBT plus in like obvious outways. This led to a constant stream of conversation about LGBT plus issues from the youth, with us old advisors sitting around mainly just listening. The topic of bullying and high school and bathrooms came up. In the small circle I was in, there were several trans-binary and trans-non-binary youth, and they began organically sharing their stories about finding a place to pee. To zoom out a minute, bathroom accessibility is a fundamental battleground in trans rights. Being able to pee, knowing you are safe to pee in public, is a basic human right that many people currently do not have. In recent polls, recent in 2019 now, 32% of trans folks report that they have limited the amount they ate or drank in public so they would not have to use an unsafe restroom. 8% of trans people report kidney issues because they don't use public restrooms out of safety concern. So here I am as an adult, and I know that, but these kids are talking only about their daily lived experience. And I'm in conversation with this young trans man, 15, 16, very masculine presenting, binds, passes as an adolescent boy in this conversation. And he tells me, he tells the group, his strategy for using the restroom. His strategy for using the restroom. He does not hold back on going pee at school. He can't. He's at school all day. There are no gender-neutral restrooms or single-stall restrooms. He has to pee. And he clearly doesn't belong in the women's restroom. So he uses the men's restroom where he belongs. But he doesn't wash his hands. He goes in, head down, uses the stall as quickly as possible, walks out without washing his hands. He says that the mirrors, where other people can see your face, make eye contact, are the worst part, the part that feels the most dangerous. He explains that he keeps hand sanitizer on a zipper pull in his backpack, and as soon as he's out of the restroom, he uses copious amounts, that he always makes sure he has hand sanitizer. He's not complaining as he says this. He's somewhat proud that he has an out for the worst part. It honestly sounds like the hand sanitizer is comforting, like he's found a way to opt out of part of the risk. I don't tell him that hand sanitizer doesn't kill MRSA or other bacteria. I listen, I nod. Other youths share their stories, how they try real hard not to use the restroom in public, or how they go to the nurse's office to pee once in the middle of the day. At the church we were at, there were binary restrooms, men's, boys, and women's, girls. It was an old building, and it was clear the signage is from when the building was an elementary school years ago. However, there was also signage under each old sign declaring where the gender-neutral restrooms were and that nobody better give anyone else hassle about which bathroom they selected. The best restrooms in the place are the gender-neutral restrooms that are single stall. There's one just outside the sanctuary. a beautiful, remodeled, freshly tiled, single-stall, gender-neutral restroom. If you are in worship service and need to pee in that church, this is where you go, regardless of who you are. All weekend, everyone in the building got to pee where they wanted. The young trans men and trans women walked into the binary restrooms, shoulders back, comfortable. The non-binary youth used the gender-neutral restrooms, and over the weekend, I saw several youth who actively smiled, grinned as they walked into the restroom. It was part of the pleasure they had in coming to this UU church, to this big, messy assembly. They knew they were safe among these peers. The bathrooms told them they were welcome. I don't have a solution of how to make our building more accessible. I have ideas, but like I said at the start, this is a matter of committees and boards and money and ultimately congregation. But I can't shake the image of this young man, each day at school, head down, hustling out of the bathroom past the sinks because the simple human dignity of washing his hands is just too scary. And I can't shake the memory of that same young man smiling as he walked into a restroom that he knew was safe. Earlier in this, Nearing and I agreed that I would tell you that she has light up shoes on if she stayed quiet. So this is Nearing has light up shoes on.